The Pixel 3a XL costs roughly half the price of the Pixel 3 XL. So how do they compare? That's up next.
This is Twit.
This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by Grammarly, a communication tool that helps people improve their writing to be mistake-free, clear, and effective. Start writing confidently by going to Grammarly.com/hot and get 20% off a Grammarly Premium account. I've been living with the new Pixel 3a XL as my everyday phone for right around 3 weeks now. I've got my Project Fi SIM card installed in here. I've got Google's Fabric case protecting it from falls. And what I've been struck by most is the fact that it's not at all different, not in very many ways, from my previous daily driver, the Pixel 3 XL, that's actually much more expensive. It's the higher powered version of the Pixel 3 that, yes, also has one of Google's fancy Fabric cases protecting it. When they're both outfitted this way, there's very little indication on a daily basis that I'm actually using a phone that's half the cost of the original. So in lieu of a traditional review of the 3A, I thought I'd pick them apart to see what really differentiates them, particularly in real-world use. The 3A does come with some sacrifices, but everyone has different needs, so let's compare the Pixel 3 XL to the 3A XL. Starting with the design. The Pixel 3 and 3A are strikingly similar in many ways. Now, obviously, I have the purple-ish version, that's what they call it, of the 3A, and it's sitting next to the clearly white version of the 3XL, so that's the color difference that you see there. The 3XL has a glass back with a smooth texture up top and a softer texture underneath. The 3A actually follows that same styling. In this case, though, it's using plastic in place of glass, and honestly, Google did a fantastic job at making the softer part of the polycarbonate unibody feel like the soft glass of the 3XL. Sure, you can totally tell it's plastic, and to some, that's something that they will actually applaud because plastic can survive a drop better than glass in some cases. But this doesn't feel like cheap, low-rent plastic design. And let's be real, throw this fabric case on there and you'll never actually know anyway, so it's no harm, no foul. Do note that the 3A is not built with any sort of water resistance, whereas the 3XL has a rating of IPX8, so don't go dropping the 3A in the toilet. Now, up near the camera on the 3XL that you see here is a small sensor that doesn't exist on the 3A. This is actually a spectral and flicker sensor which eliminates banding artifacts in shots that are taken in certain indoor lighting conditions. I didn't really see much difference in my own comparisons though. Up top you'll see the 3A sports a standard headphone jack, kind of like the olden days. And this will definitely make some people very happy. You're not going to find that on the 3XL. But down below, there's a USB-C port on both phones that supports fast charge. Now, if you pony up for the 3XL, you're going to also get fast wireless charging support, and that's definitely a feature that some people cannot live without. It really hasn't bothered me too much personally. Dual front-facing speakers on the 3XL, while the 3A has the earpiece up top combined with the bottom firing speaker for the stereo field that, in my opinion, is totally good enough. You're probably a little bit louder on the 3XL. Looking at the display, we'll see some obvious big differences. The 3A has a more traditional approach to bezels. You'll find a moderately deep chin and forehead here. That's compared to the 3XL. We're going to find a similar chin, but almost no forehead bezel. In its place, you're left with a bucket notch up top. Bucket because it's one of the deepest notches out there at the moment. Definitely don't pick this up if you are a notch hater. Now, as for the OLED displays themselves, the 3A XL has a 1080p panel, while the 3XL is sharper with its Quad HD display. And when I really sit them side by side and use my human eyes, it's honestly very difficult to see very much of a difference between the two. QHD Plus is technically much sharper, and maybe I just have middle-aged guy eyes, but the display really isn't the differentiator here, in my opinion. This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by Grammarly. That's a communication tool that helps people improve their writing to be mistake-free, clear, and effective. Grammarly Premium looks out for spelling, grammar, plus advanced punctuation, style within context, conciseness, and readability for different occasions. It's available on multiple browsers and platforms, so you can stop making email typos from your phone and show your best self through writing with Grammarly. Go to Grammarly.com/hot. You'll get 20% off your Grammarly Premium account today. That's Grammarly.com/hot for 20% off your Grammarly Premium account. Now, you remember that notch that I mentioned on the Pixel 3 XL? Well, it hides somewhat ineffectively, not one but two front-facing cameras compared to the 3A's single front-facing camera. Both devices do have an 8-megapixel main sensor, but they are not identical. The 3A XL has an aperture of f2.0 and an 84-degree field of view. That's compared to the Pixel 3 XL's f1.8 aperture, so a little better in lower light, and smaller 75-degree field of view. The 3 XL adds a second wider angle sensor for 97-degree field of view to be exact, and that's for selfies that can fit just a little bit more into the frame. Comparing some selfie shots side by side, the 3A kind of sits me in between the 3 XL's standard and wide angle shots, and in essence, it's truly a compromise between both of those extremes on the 3 XL. Portrait shots are maybe a little bit more refined on the 3 XL. To my eyes, the edges look natural around my face and hairline compared to the background, whereas on the 3A, there's some smearing around my jawline that just looks a little bit unnatural, but believe me, I've seen much worse on other phones. As for the rear-facing camera, both devices actually have the same single 12.2 megapixel dual pixel camera with an f1.8 aperture and optical image stabilization. The only major difference here is found under the hood. The 3 XL has a dedicated Pixel Visual Core chip to speed up some of the machine learning magic that these phones employ on images. Google re-engineered all of that magic into the Pixel 3A without that dedicated chip. Now, this should mean that things churn slower, but to me, it's hardly been evident. Taking shots with either phone is as seamless as ever. The shots are beautiful and balanced between the two phones. They both have the Sony IMX363 sensor that really is remarkable. It's amazing to get such a wonderful camera into the 3A because it basically means that this is the phone to get if pictures are your priority and you're on a budget. And with all of that re-engineering, 3A owners still get the amazing night sight mode for super low light images, photo booth, playground, and a bunch of other enhanced modes. The camera is truly the main reason why you might choose the 3A over the 3 XL, because why pay twice as much if you don't have to? Well, maybe it's because the 3 XL actually comes with free unlimited full resolution uploads to Google Photos, and that's compared to the 3A's free unlimited high quality uploads. There is a difference here, an important distinction since literally any Android phone qualifies for unlimited high quality uploads. So in other words, this isn't really a feature by comparison. Performance-wise, one might think that the 3 XL would have a significant edge. After all, it has last year's top-of-the-line processor, the Snapdragon 845 inside. That's compared to the Pixel 3A's more mid-range offering, the Snapdragon 670. And both devices have the same 4 gigs of RAM. But to be completely honest, I'm really impressed by how narrow the performance gap actually is. In everyday use, I hardly, if ever, saw any sort of significant slowdown or a reminder even that the processor on the 3A was at all inferior. Maybe an occasional hiccup while browsing certain websites, and it's best not to think of the 3A as a supercharged gaming device because it's not, though it ran PUBG Mobile pretty well for me, but my experience has been practically seamless in the performance department. Now, some features are the same additionally between the two phones. Both the 3 XL and the 3A XL come with at least 3 years of updates and security patches. Both devices employ the Pixel launcher experience, and both devices have the same top-notch haptic vibration motor that feels really nice and solid. But one big difference is, of course, the price. The 3 XL runs $899 at the moment. The 3A XL costs $479. That's nearly half the cost. And by saving all that money, you get, in my opinion, almost as good of a phone. It's kind of unfair to the 3 XL, actually. Sure, wireless charging, waterproofing, a faster processor, those are all nice, and some might say they're essential. I'm guessing that most people aren't going to miss those trade-offs for the cost savings, and they'll basically be as happy with what they get out of the 3A XL in daily use. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say that I recommend the 3A XL. In fact, if you really must buy a Pixel right this very moment, I would recommend the 3A or the 3A XL as the one to get. I'm Jason Howell, and I do my Android thing on All About Android every week here on twit.tv.
Keep up with all the hottest tech news and gadgets. Visit twit.tv. There you'll be able to find and subscribe to all our tech shows. Thanks for watching Hands on Tech.